Good Sunday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. Hopefully, one has had a fantastic Sunday. I am your meteorologist, Jeff Peterson. Let's go on and talk about the weather for your Sunday evening going into your future. We do have some stuff that we're going to talk about tonight, especially which you can already see, the tropics is obviously going to be a main concern as we move through tonight's forecast. Now, what's the main things we're going to be talking about? Obviously, the tropics is number one. We also will be talking about our below normal temperatures for this week, and then we're also going to talk about just the heavy rainfall potential as we potentially see isolated flash flooding pretty much all week, even into the late week period as well. We also are going to talk about obviously just the week forecast for this week for the week of August the 3rd through August the 9th, since it is Sunday evening and we always do the week forecast on Sunday evening. So we're also going to talk about the week, the first full week of August. But before we get into that, if you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button yet, make sure you go and do so. We have 8 people in here watching, and we only have 4 likes. We have 8 people in here watching, and we only have 4 likes. So please make sure that if you have not hit the like button yet or the subscribe button, you make sure you go in and do so as well. But let's go on now and look at our current conditions for right now. So if we go on and move on over here, you can see right now our current conditions right now. We do have some rainfall activity that moves all the way from Chesterfield all the way towards Lancaster and even into like the Midland region near Columbia, going into Eastover and Gaston, South Carolina. If you move even more to the west into like Edgefield, going into Parksville and Burnett Town and Aiken as well is also included in there. And for the most part, I mean, you're just seeing this activity go through the Midlands and the PD region as we continue. But if you go on and scroll our way out and see what's going on throughout the entire U.S., we have flood watches out for Alabama, going into Georgia and Florida, as flooding is ongoing inside of that flood watch. We also do have some severe weather going on in South Dakota as well as Nebraska, rainfall going on in Minnesota, and then also 4-inch in diameter hail was reported in Stanton County in Kansas. Again, that was 4-inch in diameter hail as severe storms moving through Kansas and about to move into Oklahoma, and then rainfall and storms moving on over here into Montana and Oregon. So a lot going on. Northeast Mid-Atlantic looking good, but so a lot of activity going on though. You can see here that overall most of us is covered with cloud cover right now, but you have some clear spots here and there. And so for the most part, I will say mostly cloudy. If we go on to continue to push this forward and get further into tonight, going into tomorrow, that cloud cover activity will continue to take over the entire state. And again, we most likely will have another cloudy day tomorrow. Yes, again, clear spots will be there, but I will say that from the cloud cover that we've been experiencing for the past couple of days will most likely continue. Current temperatures right now: 69 inside of Columbia, as well as 69 in Orangeburg, 76 in Somerville, as well as 72 in Sumter, 72 in Florence, as well as 74 in Conway, 78 in Myrtle Beach, as well as 78 in Murrells Inlet, 76 in Georgetown, as well as 77 in North Myrtle Beach. Look up here in the upstate, like 65 in Gaffney, 64 in Spartanburg, as well as 63 in Greenville, 65 in Clemson, as well as 65 in Anderson, 66 in Greenwood, and even around 69 over there, or 65 in Aiken, and then even 78 in Charleston, Beaufort, and 79 in Hilton Head Island. So you can see there's actually a big buffer from the low country of South Carolina and over here in the PD region of South Carolina and Grand Strand compared to the Midlands and the upstate, to where it's cool. It's even, for example, some people are even up in the 50s, but that's up there in like North Carolina or like over there like on the high mountaintops right there in the Blue Ridge region in South Carolina. Low temperatures for tonight: 64 in Greenville, as well as 64 in Spartanburg, 65 in Anderson, as well as 65 in Greenwood, 68 in Columbia, as well as 69 in Orangeburg, 67 in Aiken, as well as 67 in Sumter, 69 inside of Moncks Corner, as well as 74 in Charleston, and 69 in Georgetown and Myrtle Beach, and 75 in Hilton Head Island. Now for your rainfall, for the most part, rainfall is not expected for Rock Hill, Camden, Florence, Dillon, Myrtle Beach, Georgetown, Cheraw. But everyone else will have that chance. So that's 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch. That goes from Greenville going into Anderson, going into Lawrence, going into Winsboro, going into Sumter, Kingstree, Moncks Corner is included, Orangeburg's included. And then a 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch for Aiken going into Walterboro. And then Hilton Head Island is included as well, quarter of an inch to a half an inch from Charleston to Barnwell. And then maybe somebody might even get an isolated 1.5 to maybe even 2 inches of rainfall as we move into tonight going into tomorrow night. It's possible. It's possible. And one thing that I will say, I probably should have rephrased it a little bit differently, but the regions up there that do not that does not have any sort of precipitation on them, that does not mean that it won't rain. It just means that you will not see enough precipitation to get to that 100th of an inch mark. So, you still have, the chance for maybe a little shower to move through. Might drop like a little trace, but, might not accumulate as much. So, probably should say that better for next time, or just as we continue through. As we get into tonight, we do have some thunderstorm activity that moves through, again, like the coastal low country. And then as you move your way in more into the low country, so the low country right now is actually the only region that has a chance for thunderstorms as we move through. They just updated it, so let's see what the new update says. It's pretty much the same thing. They didn't really change anything for it, so everyone inside the light green, you have a chance for some thunderstorms. Everyone else, no thunderstorms are expected. For Monday, August the 4th, 2025, we do, in fact, have another thunderstorm risk. Does not go through the entire state, but it is there for the upstate, going into the Midlands, going into the low country, going over into the PD region as well. And so everyone else that's not inside of that thunderstorm risk, again, Rock Hill, Florence is included as well. That is for nobody has a chance for any thunderstorms up there. And then day 3 for Tuesday, again, another thunderstorm risk that goes through the upstate, goes through the Midlands, goes through the low country, and even into the PD and Grant Trend region again. Everyone else, Florence, Rock Hill, no chance for any sort of thunderstorms. Now, that can change, obviously, so, obviously make sure that you're paying attention either way. But for now, no thunderstorms are expected for tonight up there. Tomorrow up there for like Rock Hill, Florence, and day 3 for Tuesday as well. So, interesting to see. That is very interesting to see. We'll see if they make it an expansion to it. For excessive rainfall, we do still have a scattered risk of flash flooding that, honestly, they most likely will get rid of. For right now, it's still there, but that's for Ridgeland, Beaufort, Bluffton, Hilton Head Island, Key Island as well. And then if you are inside the green, that's an isolated risk of flash flooding. That's Allendale going into Walterboro, Somerville, Charleston, North Charleston, Hanahan, and then going over towards the Francis Marion National Forest. Everyone else, though, not having to worry about anything. Then as you go into tomorrow morning, going into Tuesday morning, so Monday morning through to Tuesday morning, marginal risk of excessive rainfall is here again for most of, or at least the just inland low country, not the deep inland low country, but from a good part of it. Also, a scattered risk of flooding, again, that goes down here for Ridgeland going into Beaufort, Bluffton, and Hilton Head Island. And then that marginal risk with that isolated risk of flash flooding continues up into the upstate for Greenville, going into Spartanburg, as well. Clemson's included, Anderson's included as well. Then for day 3, this is Tuesday morning going into Wednesday morning. You see that a slight risk starts to move its way into South Carolina. Again, that's for, up there near Clemson over towards Anderson, Greenwood's included, and just near Augusta as well. And then the entire low country has a isolated risk of flash flooding again Tuesday going into Wednesday, Midlands as well, and then most of, if not all, of the upstate that's not included inside the slight risk also has a threat. Day 4, still not done. Everyone inside the entire state of South Carolina has a chance for some isolated flash flooding on Wednesday. And then day 5, again, day 5, Thursday going into Friday, still a risk of some isolated flash flooding again right here along this South Carolina, Georgia / North Carolina border, starting up going all the way towards Clover, K over towards Fort Mill, Pagelands included, all of the PD and Grand Strands included, all of the Low Country is included, and the Southern Midlands as well. So, if you did not get anything from that, the main thing that I will say is that flash flooding is pretty much, I wouldn't say expected, but it's definitely a possibility as we move through the next 5 days or so. So please make sure that if you're out driving, have a torrential downpour going on, thunderstorm going on, that you're watching for those flooded roadways. There's already been reports of people, like I believe there was a car on I-26 near Jedburgh. I believe that there was water all the way to the top of the roof of the car. That's how high the water was. Like they were inside the median down there. I believe that's where like a little dip was. I don't know what in the world happened. I guess he hydroplaned or whatnot, and the water was all the way up to the top of the roof of his car. So again, even though some regions may only be, isolated risk of flash flooding or a scattered risk, it's still a risk, and so you still have to take it seriously. That's it for our excessive rainfall, though, and what I wanted to talk about for the tropics. Let's go on now and talk about the models. So we're going to start off here. Let me pull up this real quick. Start off here at the 48-hour mark. If we go on and start off here at 9 o'clock p.m., you see rainfall, obviously what's going on right now. If you're going to continue to push this forward right here, you can see that overall that rainfall activity, but even by 12 o'clock in the morning, there still will be some rainfall activity going on, and that's not surprising. That is not surprising one bit. If you continue to push it forward, heavy rainfall moving in, like you see near the coastal region, I guess maybe that's why they still have that slight risk of excessive rainfall there, just because of some of these showers and storms that might be moving into the low country overnight. Again, around like 3 a.m. here. Rainfall is still going on inside of the upstate, but it's relatively isolated. But it will grow in coverage the more into the night we get, around 5, 6 a.m. And look at 7 o'clock in the morning. We got a lot of rainfall going on, especially like the low country going into around like 9, 10 a.m., going into around a 12 to 1 p.m. as well. Just a huge shield of moisture going in from the upstate all the way over towards the Grand Strand region. Now, if we continue more into the future, this is 2 o'clock right here. This one is a model that was updated a little bit further back, but you can see just how much of a difference it has. This is what it says it's going to do instead. If you start off at 7 a.m., for example, this is not what we were just seeing on the past model. If you go in and continue to push it forward, you can see that rainfall moves into like the Tri-County region by around like 12 to 1 p.m., while by 12 to 1 p.m. it had already basically almost moved out of the Tri-County, moving into like obviously that PD and Grand Strand region. So the models are definitely a bit on the offside, because they just do not know for sure when this shield of rain will actually move in. So this is really just going to have to be just like a tomorrow morning thing, to where we just have to look and just see what happens. But if we continue to push this forward even more, you can see heavy rainfall moving all the way up into the upstate by around 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock p.m. And just look at all of that rainfall as well as you move into August the 4th tomorrow at 9 o'clock p.m. And it kind of just trains over those regions over and over again. Just as you continue through, even into around 8 to 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning, and there still is some more rainfall as you move into the afternoon hours on Tuesday. So a lot of rainfall up there in the upstate, for sure, and a lot pretty much in the Midlands and the low country as well. And even the PD starting to see a lot of that rainfall as well. So isolated flash flooding again, scatter flash flooding, all of that's inside the question as we move through, as we were talking about earlier. Now, in terms of totals, I'm going to go back over here real quick. In terms of totals, you actually can have a good amount of totals through like the next 3 days or so. It's not the most amount, but it is definitely a good amount. You can see overall, most people get around a half an inch to an inch. Most people. Obviously, like I said, the PD, Grand Strand, that's probably going to be the region that gets the least amount over there near like Sherrod, Dillon, Conway, Myrtle Beach, Georgetown. They probably get the least amount. But most people, again, are inside that half an inch to an inch region. Some an inch to an inch and a half. The more west you go, seems, and some people might even get 2 to 3 inches of rainfall as we move through. This goes from Sunday at 8 o'clock p.m. to Wednesday at 8 o'clock, and maybe even more, because these storms could potentially intensify, maybe higher than what the models have predicted in terms of that heavy rainfall. So you really just have to wait and just see what happens as we continue to move our way through. So that's what I wanted to show there for our short term. Let's go on now and talk about the long term. And then we'll go on and talk about our tropics. We'll talk about the crazy score. Then we'll talk about this week. We'll talk with the audience. And then 4 locations that we talk about outside of South Carolina. And then after that, we'll continue back everything else regularly. Just as we go on and push this forward right here, you can see that rainfall that we're seeing out here, you see a low pressure over there kind of moves its way in near Georgia. Now again, that might not happen. It wasn't showing it on the other models at all. In fact, it just kind of just shows it just moving in and then just kind of dissipating, but bringing us a lot of rainfall on around like August the 8th and August the 9th. We'll see how that develops as it moves its way through, but even through August the 11th through August the 12th, and even the 13th, we just remain to that thunderstorm activity. And then you have that monstrosity down there in Florida on August the 15th. Now, will that happen? Obviously, we're way too far out. That is August the 14th. That is more than 10 days out, so we can't even say nothing on that at all. So we're just going to go on and push past that, but that would definitely bring us some heavy rainfall, gusty wind probably, and probably rip currents, high surf, that stuff. But then once we get to the 300-hour mark, August the 16th, everything here is pretty much just put here, almost just like as like a placeholder. You know, obviously everything that's going to happen here is just way too far out. But it looks like that for the most part we just stay still kind of in that active activity. Now we seem like we might have a day here to where we might have a little bit of a break. But again, this is low resolution, so I can't really say for sure. And again, over 300 hours out, so that's just another thing we're just going to have to wait for. So that's it for our long-term future. Let's go on right now and talk about the tropics, because obviously the main reason why we are here is because the tropics are active. The tropics are active. And we have 3 areas that we are watching for, 2 of them really, but one of them is moving away kind of. So starting off, you have 3 areas again that we are watching for. There is one up here, disturbance 1. This is the one in the red. It states showers and this is also in Vest 95, but it says showers and thunderstorms continue to show signs of organization and association with the low pressure system located a few hundred miles east of North Carolina. The low is producing gale force winds, and it appears that the system is becoming separated from the nearby frontal zone to its north and west. If the shower and thunderstorm activity persists, the low would continue to acquire tropical characteristics, with a tropical storm likely to form later tonight or on Monday, while moving east to northeastward at 10 to 15 miles an hour over the western Atlantic away from the coast of North Carolina. For additional information, pretty much just says check for the National Weather Service. So I will say that again, that this one right here, this one in the red, no threat to us at all. No threat for this one at all. That one is going to just move out of our hair. And again, not going to be a threat to us at all. So honestly, you can almost just completely disregard that one in the red. as it moves its way away. The next one is this orange one right here. This one, it has the potential. It says a tropical wave is forecasted to move off the west coast of Africa on Monday. Thereafter, some gradual development of the wave is possible, and a tropical depression could form later this week, while it moves generally west-northwest across the central tropical Atlantic. So, no threat of this forming over the next 48 hours, but a 40% chance of this thing forming during the next 7 days. And also the one up here had an 80% chance of forming over the next 48 hours and an 80% chance of forming over the next 7 days as well. This one is definitely going to have to be one that we watch for as well. And we'll go over all the models for each one as well, just see what they show. And then the final one, which I think we also need to watch this one as well, over here, disturbance number 3. An area of low pressure could form in the next couple of days, a few hundred miles off the coast of the southeastern United States. Some gradual development of the system is possible during the middle to later portion of this week as the system drifts west or northwest. So I believe that's the one that we just saw. Has a 0% chance of forming over the next 48 hours and a 20% chance of forming over the next 7 days. So I do want to go on and look at them real quick. This is the Invest 95. This is the one that we were just looking at. The one that I said has no threat to come to us at all, and pretty much it does not. Invest 95, again, no threat to even get close to us. It's going to just continue to move its way to the north and east. So that red one, again, no threat for that one. If we go on and look at the one over here that's about to move off the coast of Africa, this one, which if I go on and do this real quick, you can see it down here, and it's going to push its way through. And according to this one model, it has it kind of going up, and I believe this is, yeah, that's the one that we were just looking at. And it had that huge hurricane situation over towards Florida, and then bringing us that rainfall as well. So again, that's one that we're going to have to watch for as well. Will that specific scenario happen? Probably not. I mean, it could. There's always a chance, but it is just way too far out to talk about that one for sure. So we're just going to have to wait for that one. But then the other one is there is a low pressure that is about to form over here. And there it is right there. That's the low pressure, the one in the yellow that we just saw. And it moved its way up into South Carolina. That was the one that we were just talking about, how it kind of just moved its way in. It kind of reminded me of Tropical Storm Chantal, where that one just formed off the coast and just made its way inward. So I am watching them. I think that we all should be watching them for the two that we were just talking about. And will they impact South Carolina? Again, we just don't know yet. We just don't know. But make sure that you are prepared just in case of the worst case scenario happens and we have a hurricane barreling over towards South Carolina. You just have to be prepared. Make sure you have items with you, just in case if you have to evacuate or anything like that. And or if you just need to bunker down inside of your house. But hopefully we won't have to go through that, but we might have to. That is it, though, for the tropics. That's all I wanted to talk about there. I will talk about the next thing on our list, which is the crazy score. We had a 35 for tonight. It's on the moderate category. Noticeable weather conditions such as moderate rain, wind, or minor storms. So, for the most part, obviously you still have that risk of flash flooding as we move through tonight, but other than that, it just seems to be just moderate tonight as storms can move through, especially in that low country region. So now that all of that is out of the way, let's go on and talk about the second thing while we are here, with the second main reason, and that's for this week's forecast. So the week of August the 3rd going into August the 9th. So as we go on and move on over here towards the eastern U.S., and we start off over here, this week will actually be below average in terms of temperatures. We will be below average in terms of temperatures for most of us. Now, if you're near the coastal regions, you actually might be above average this week. But everyone else below average. You might have this little area in between that just might be seasonable, like Horry County going all the way through Williamsburg, the Tri-County region, and through like Allendale County, for example. But for the most part, like I said, everyone will be cool. As we go into precipitation as well, we actually will be above average in terms of precipitation. Some of that may be from that tropical moisture as we move through, like at the end of the week. But for now, it's looking like that we will be above average in terms of precipitation, which is great because we have a drought that is ongoing right now. We have a drought that is, in fact, ongoing right now. Up there inside of the upstate, and abnormally dries as well. So that is a good thing for some rainfall up there, especially, and maybe even some people that might not even be in the abnormally dry that said that they might need some rainfall as well. So that is it for just the averages. If we go on and look at the this week, if we go on and look at the amount of rainfall that we could potentially see this week, for the most part, it seems that around like 1 to potentially 2 inches as we move through. This goes from now to Sunday, August the 10th at 8 o'clock p.m. for the most part. It shows a good amount, but not too much. Everyone gets around like an inch and a half, all the way up to around 2, 3, maybe even an isolated 4 inches as we move through this week. The next thing that I did want to talk about was just the temperatures as well. If you go on and move on to this one, temperature anomalies, as you go on and push this forward, you can see that this week is actually going to start off cooler than average, and it's going to remain cool for a while, obviously, even as we move through to around August the 8th. As you move into August the 9th, though, still seems relatively cool, but you can see, especially near that coastal region, why I was talking about how it's going to be a lot, how it could potentially be above average. That is because, obviously, you will have some time to where it could potentially be, again, above average near the coastal regions, but cooler than average it seems to be for most of the inland regions as we move through. Now, when will that hot air or warm air come back? Definitely next week. So enjoy the cool week now, because we are going to get right back to those temperatures back up into the 90s again as we move into next week. So that is it for our temperatures and just our week forecast in general. So let's go on and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off with Mr. Chris, who says, "Good evening, everyone from Monk's Corner. Hope you all had a great day. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe button if you have not already. It helps the channel grow, and it gets it out to those who need it. Thank you so much for that. If you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button yet, make sure that you go on and do so. We're at 557 subscribers. We are, I believe, I'm trying to do quick math real quick. We are, I believe, let me think, 18 away from that halfway subscriber goal of 575, and then we are 43 away from that main goal of 600. So if you have not hit the subscribe button yet, make sure you go on and do so. Mr. Anthony says, "Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. My Nana says, hello, Jay. Had a rather nice day. I almost didn't go to church because a few drops of rain hit my car, but I kept going. You made the right decision, because honestly, it did not rain that hard at all. If it, even rained that much in general." That says, "Good evening, Joseph. I trust all is well. All is well. My grass is taking a turn for the worse. It looked like we were going to get some rain last night. I even smelled it in the air. You did have that risk for some thunderstorms last night, or was the night before. But unfortunately, it just did not happen, which is unfortunate, but, just stuff like that can happen." Trail says, "Greetings, everyone. Greetings to you." That also says, "Oh, and not to mention some animal ate a good majority of my tomatoes." That is not a great thing at all. Hopefully you can replenish them soon. Let me see. Trail says, "Another lovely day. I tried to hug the cool air today." Well, you have a chance to, because obviously we have until the end of the week. So you have a chance to. Mr. Chris also says could definitely use some rain amongst corners getting dry again, even though, and that's what I was talking about earlier, even some of the people that aren't even included inside of the drought itself, or even though normally dry itself, there, there's still a lot of areas that might actually need some rainfall that is not included. We'll check more on Thursday, see what the drought monitor has to say, and we'll have the predictions out, see what everyone else says. But we'll talk more about that obviously Wednesday night going into Thursday night. And that's it for the chat for now. So let's go on and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. What are the 4 locations outside of South Carolina that we talk about? That is San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 regions is because we have people who tune in from these regions almost nightly. And I decided why not give back and just give them their forecast at the end after the South Carolina forecast, even though we might still talk about some stuff for South Carolina still after the forecast. But for the most part, most of the stuff is already covered. Starting off with San Antonio first, with low temperatures tonight 78, high temperatures tomorrow at 100, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 78. No precipitation tonight, but a slight chance of thunderstorms tomorrow and tomorrow night as well. Now, for severe weather, you do not have any threat for any sort of severe weather as you move through tonight, and even as you move through tomorrow and Tuesday. Now, for excessive rainfall, that might be a little bit of a different story, as I know that there was a chance for some minor flooding yesterday. As you move through tonight, though, nothing for tonight, and overall actually just looks quiet in terms of excessive rainfall. So no excessive rainfall, no severe weather is expected, but a chance for some thunderstorms tomorrow. Raleigh being the second location with low temperatures tonight 63, high temperatures tomorrow at 85, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 66. No precipitation is expected at all tomorrow or tonight. And then in terms of severe weather, no severe weather is expected. Excessive rainfall is a possibility on Wednesday and Thursday. So make sure that you're watching out for that Wednesday and Thursday, potential for some isolated flash flooding. Philadelphia being the next one, low temperatures tonight 64, high temperatures tomorrow at 89, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 68. No precipitation tonight or tomorrow. There is indeed no threat for any sort of excessive rainfall and no threat for any sort of severe weather. And then for Duncan, Oklahoma, with low temperatures tonight 69, high temperatures tomorrow at 89, and low temperatures tomorrow night at 68. Thunderstorms are likely tonight. Chance of thunderstorms tomorrow during the day, but tomorrow night nothing is expected there. You do have a chance for severe weather. That is actually, I believe, a small, isolated 2% chance. Unless I'm looking at this wrong. I believe you actually do have an isolated 2% chance for a tornado as you move your way through. I believe so. If I'm looking at this correctly, because again, both maps are kind of off right now. But you do, in fact, have a 15% risk of seeing some damaging winds, as well as scattered damaging wind gusts with the 60 miles per hour with some storms, and also some isolated severe hail is also possible as well. So that's your severe weather for tonight, and thunderstorms again are likely. Other than that, that's it for severe weather after tonight. But if you go into excessive rainfall, a minor risk of flooding tonight. And so that's it for the 4 locations. So what's going on throughout the entire U.S., just weather news-wise? It says, wildfire smoke continues to result in poor air quality from the upper Midwest into the Northeast. Dangerous heat and fire weather concerns for the portion of the Four Corners region into the central Great Basin. Heavy rainfall and flash flooding possible for the Southeast through Monday. And then for Hawaii, gusty trade winds and drier weather could result in any fires that start to spread rapidly as well. Severe weather goes on for Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas as excessive heat goes into Southern California, Southern Nevada, and most of, or at least the southern half of Arizona. And that's it for what's going on throughout the entire U.S. And so, let me go on and check out the chat. I don't see anything else inside the chat, so I'm going to assume that that's all there. Top fans for tonight. Mr. Chris does come out at number 1 again for like the 20th night in a row. Terrell also came in second, and then Thad came in third. Congratulations to the three of y'all for being the top fans for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can. You just have to be here early, and you have to be active inside the chat, actively typing. There's no special privileges or anything like that given to anybody that is the top fans, or not everyone here is treated equally. One other thing I would say before I get out of here, if you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button, we've had 32 people tune in, and we only have 8 likes. I don't understand what's going on there, and why 24 people have not hit the like button, but all I can do is ask, and hopefully you can. And again, we are right now 43 subscribers away from 600 subscribers, which is the main goal. So please, if you have not hit the subscribe button yet, make sure you go in and do so. I will be back tomorrow morning with your Monday morning forecast update. Hopefully, we all have a fantastic rest or a fantastic start to your week, and make sure to go on and hit those 2 buttons.